This is He Knows His Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. All right, Zion Williamson is the next player right now that the media is doing everything in their power to try to devalue. And the reason why I'm saying this is because they don't like his personality. They don't like Zion Williamson. And the reason why they don't like him right now, it's not to say that they're not going to like him a few years from now, is because they understand that Zion Williamson, if he has his head on a swivel, if he can be disciplined, if he can keep his weight down, if he can dedicate himself to the craft of basketball, he will be that underlying threat of making NBA fans immediately forget about LeBron James. They know this to be true. The media is not stupid. Remember, they're the ones that did the brain full of mush and brainwash dodo-headisms and classic dope and troglodytisms and ultra fanboy with the ultra fanboy rhetoricisms of brain full of mush and brainwashing you into what we call, again, dodo heads for 17 years. They were pumping the narrative down your damn throats. And if you wasn't smart and you missed that pivotal age of 7 to 8 years old where the neuron receptors weren't clicking on all cylinders, you fell for the nonsense. So these same people are going to gravitate towards Zion Williamson, but not right now, because they're not done with LeBron James. They're not done, especially with LeBron being with the Los Angeles Lakers. They are not done. Their LBJ RIDERS promotion, propaganda is not done. And they can't just yet transverse or do a transference into Zion Williamson until that time comes. This is how the media works. They're not on to the next until they're ready to be on to the next. Let me say it again. They are not on to the next until they are ready to be on to the next. This is why they are rejecting Zion Williamson and not accepting him, because they're not ready for him yet. But this guy brilliantly had 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists against Giannis Antetokounmpo quietly. Remember, I told you guys, I need to start seeing Zion Williamson do these against emphatic players. That was an impressive game. Zion Williamson is quietly showcasing what his potential can ultimately be in a microcosm. I'm telling you guys, they're sitting here looking at the John Morants of the worlds, you know what I'm saying, and looking at the RJ Barretts of the worlds, but they're not looking at Zion Williamson. And you know what's unique about him? And what's very interesting is he has a humble personality, which I find to be strange. Because usually people that have his loud and standout game usually has a loud mouth to follow thereafter. Let me say it again. Usually people that have a loud mouth and standout game usually has a loud mouth there to come thereafter. Of course, this is Zion Williamson's first year. And of course, it looks like it's leaning towards John Morant to be Rookie of the Year because Zion Williamson didn't play a lot of games. Now, if he did, we clearly know at this point who would have been Rookie of the Year. It would have been Zion Williamson, because look at what he's doing with the short period of time. But the truth of the fact of the matter is, we don't know what Zion Williamson's mouth is all about. I'm going to give it a few more years to see if he's the braggadocious type or if he's really what he is advertising, which is a humble type. Because you still got to wait a few years, because players have this thing where sometimes they're masterful in duping you in terms of not showing you their true personality until years later. You know what I'm saying? Or what you see is what you get. I'm hoping what I'm seeing is what I'm getting from Zion Williamson. And the other thing too, what would be impressive to me is if Zion Williamson can stay with one team, the New Orleans Pelicans, and turn this organization around. See, the media is running with this nonsense saying, can Zion Williamson take the New Orleans Pelicans over the top as a first option? That's their way to try to shoot Zion Williamson down before his career even started. Y'all got to be able to see through the dupery that's happening right now. You got to see the cold-hearted and unadulterated and cutthroat truths that's associated with this stuff. But He Knows the Sport always have to lay out the red carpet for you guys. Zion Williamson, this is basically his first year. Give the kid a break. For basketball players, the way that you judge where their truest and their most prosperous levels is at is after 7 seasons. Because in 7 seasons, you will know the basketball player that's in front of you. They have 7 seasons to let you know what they are going to ultimately be, because you have those 7 years of improving physically. You have those 7 years of improving mentally. You have 7 years of working on your game. By year 8, you're kind of going to have an idea. Well, no, you're going to have a great idea of what the basketball player is going to ultimately be, because year 8 will let you know what their tendencies are, what habits they've fallen into, what kind of work they've put in those 7 pivotal years. I call those the pivotal years of basketball because those 7 elementary years let you know if they're a two-way player, they like to play on both sides of the aisle, if they're just players that just want to be ball dominant, ISO type players, or if they're just players that are just one-sided, either defensively strong or offensively strong, whether they're a sum of all parts player, role player, whether they're a high-octane beta, aka alpha wannabe, or whether they're a true alpha. You're going to know this by year 8. Once year 8 starts, you're going to know that. So Zion Williamson has 7 years before we can fully know what type of player he's going to be in the NBA. And the media needs to stop this nonsense because the kid is humble. He's not calling out nobody. He's not barking. He's just focusing on his game. But what was impressive to me, and I told you guys I need to start seeing this, is what he does when he starts playing against the big boys. And that game where he was able to rip the ball from Giannis Antetokounmpo, snatch that thing from him, and put it back up, now that's impressive. And the reason why that's impressive is because Giannis Antetokounmpo is an athletic freak of nature. And he is a superstar of the epic proportions and the epic magnitudes in today's game. And Zion Williamson was able to do something on him that tells you that, whoa, sky is the potential. I think the reason why the media is so hard on Zion Williamson is because Jordan gave Zion Williamson the official nod of approval and say, y'all talking about LeBron James. Zion Williamson has arrived. Now, his first name is Zion. I told you. Zion usually can feed a whole village. That name has a lot of significant meaning behind it. It's biblical in a sense. But Zion needs to uphold to that. My requirements for him are simple. Show me that you're willing to put a maniacal dedication to the craft of the sport. Show me that you're willing to get better. Show me that you're willing to put in the work. And show me that you're willing to be disciplined. And if he can check off all those 4 markers, I'm telling you right now, we're seeing the next great player in the NBA in the next 15 to 17 years, give or take. It's really that simple. But that's what's going on right now with the media. They're not ready to get on the Zion train yet. They're going to get on the train if Zion pans out. They're just not ready to get on it yet because they're not done with the LeBron train. You guys have to understand how the media operates. That's what's going on. This is why they're shooting down everything Zion's doing, because they still got to get the finishing touches of LeBron James, because they know LeBron James' career is in the twilight. They know it's towards its end, but they want to make sure they get every crook and every nook and cranny out of LeBron James before they transverse or they do the transference to Zion Williamson. This is how the media works. It's really that simple, folks. This is He Knows the Sport. Check it out.